uploaded my first video in, well, I think it's like 2.5 years since the last time I uploaded, but 3 years since I started uploading for sure. And I haven't done I haven't spoken to anyone with gum in my mouth in that long. But I loved making a video last night. I forgot the feeling it gives me to record and upload and the whole process of it, to share. Yeah, it gave me a very specific fulfillment that, yeah, it's really wholesome, and I really enjoy it, and I'm trying to do more things that I just enjoy for the sake of enjoyment. Like, what am I really trying to achieve by uploading ASMR videos on YouTube? Like, I must just actually enjoy it. I mean, I haven't done it in a very long time, but yeah, I did really, really get a lot out of it last night, and I'm already craving another one, especially when I'm, just making them on my iPhone with my iPhone headphones. It's very easy to do, I used to record with my Blue Yeti mic, and I'm sure it sounds a lot better, but it's not really something that I can do at the moment. Yeah, it's not really possible. My daughter is away for the school holidays at the moment. She's with her father in another part of the country, so I'm using her bedroom. And yeah, once she's back, it's going to be a lot more complicated to make videos, but I think I still will every now and then. Maybe if it's quiet enough. Yeah, during the day, I don't know if it will be. I mean, I live in a small town at the moment, but it is quite a busy road. It's like one of the main roads in the town I live in, so we'll see. We'll see. If you've enjoyed this, make sure you let me know. Make sure you like and comment, so that I am encouraged to make more, because that does definitely drive me. The fact that, so many people are excited that I'm back, and even just a few people commenting and being like, oh my god, you're back. Like, for me, that's enough. That's like, oh cool, I feel received, I feel valued, and that's what motivates me. If I don't feel like I'm being received or being valued in any context, my motivation and inspiration completely dries up. And yeah, I do use that as a navigation system of where to focus my energy in life, and that is a very projector approach to life. I'm a projector in human design, if you've heard of it. It's a system. It's actually made up of several systems: the I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, the Hindu chakra system, astrology, and it combines them all and creates its own system, which is incredible and complex and accurate and specific and practical. I've been experimenting with it since 2015 or 2016 maybe, so 8 or 9 years, which is wild. Yeah, it's great. It's really, really great. I love any kind of system that helps you to explore yourself and, self-excavate and question habits and patterns, and not to make excuses for yourself, but to explore yourself and potentially really overcome like some kind of classic limitations. Like, now I'm kind of speaking of astrology because human design is more of an approach, and it gives you strategies, whereas based on your personality. So I'm kind of referring to, which I love astrology as well, but that is definitely a system that I think people can use to create limitations and be like, oh, I'm like this because I'm whatever. But for example, I'm Cancerian. My birthday was how many days ago? Like 17 days ago. I think it's the 17th here. And you know, it has been really easy for me in my life to say, oh, I'm so moody because I'm Cancerian, etc. You know, any kind of like challenging aspect of being Cancerian, which look, they do exist. They definitely do. But me being moody is something that I have massively worked on in my life. Like, I wouldn't even use that to describe myself anymore. I would say that I'm emotional, sensitive even, but I've gotten to a point where I can really hold myself and regulate myself emotionally. Look, not always, of course, like, sometimes I'm just completely fucking dysregulated, but mostly I can hold myself and regulate myself, and I don't just swing from one mood to the other like I did for, yeah, definitely the first 20 to 25 years. I'm 33 now, so I'd say at this point in my life I've really worked on that trait, and potentially through astrology I've actually identified that trait, acknowledged that within myself, and worked on it as it's come up. So anyway, my point being, I love a system. I love a good system. Anything that, yeah, can help to identify aspects of self and explore them, and, you know, work on them if needed, or expand them as well. Like, yeah, it's really fun. But yeah, it feels really nice to be doing this right now. I'm someone who has been very present online, especially since my business started in the last 5 years, maybe even 6 years. I've been sharing, but usually my main space that I would share is Instagram or TikTok, and those are both places that I for the first time in so long, I haven't been sharing on in the last year, and it hasn't felt authentic to. It just hasn't. I think I've experienced a lot of burnout from showing up consistently, which I genuinely did have energy for at the time, and it gave me life at the time. But yeah, in my last video I explained that, you know, my Instagram got taken down. Yeah, so it identified a lot of cracks. It showed me a lot of cracks in how I was sharing, how I was showing up, and that it wasn't sustainable. And anyway, my point being that I miss sharing online, but it doesn't feel authentic to share in the way that I was sharing before. And when I try to, it doesn't feel good. Oh, it's starting to rain outside. That's so nice. Yeah, it doesn't feel good. So this form of being online and sharing feels really nourishing to me, and it's really interesting. There are so many parallels between now and when I started my channel a few years ago. I started it when I was in a very internal, hermit, emotional, kind of like, not emotional as in like turbulent, but just like really moving through some big internal pieces. Yeah, and it was a very internal time for me, and it was a time where I didn't feel like I could authentically show up and share online, except for in this space. This space felt really safe. I felt really safe here, and the only reason I stopped making videos was because I just didn't have time. I was too busy, but this space supported me when I had a lot of time, relationship, focus on parenting, and myself, and my internal landscape. So I haven't wanted to just like share, it hasn't felt safe to share like that, whereas in this context it feels really nourishing, really safe, really comfortable, and I still get to be in this, which I love. I love sharing and being seen and witnessed and heard, and there's something very satisfying for me in that. And that's interesting, I can actually relate that back to astrology, because I have Venus, Mars and Jupiter all in Leo in the 10th house. And I mean, if you know anything about astrology, like, you already know, but if you don't, Leo is a sign that is very, desires to be seen and to be heard and, to show up and to share. Like, that's really fulfilling. And the planets that I have there, Venus, is very much about your values, what you find pleasure in, what you enjoy, what brings you joy and fulfillment, and like really fills you up. And yeah, it's very much about like love and romance and beauty and art, and yeah, so that's where you find that personally, right? For me, it's those themes of Leo, and Mars is what drives you. Mars is, very Aries energy. It's your motivation. It can be what really motivates you and pushes you forward, right? So again, those themes of Leo, being seen, being heard. And then Jupiter is this planet of expansion, of opportunity, and that being in Leo, it's like, wanting to be seen, to be big, to be bold, and that it's in the 10th house. The 10th house is being in the public eye. It's very much career, and it is about being seen by large groups of people in public, your public persona, etc., etc. So there are definitely themes around that, and I think that when I'm not being seen and being like sharing myself, like, I feel dim, I feel dull, which is really interesting. And it's hard because, like I said in my last video, I've gone through such a big ego death in the last year, and it's been really humbling to not be online and to not be sharing and to not be seen and to not have that like positive reinforcement, sometimes negative reinforcement. But like, when you're really sharing your truth, it's like, who fucking cares if people don't agree, right? But yeah, I've noticed, all the ways in which, ego can be really caught up in all of that. But that's Leo as well. Like, Leo is just so driven by that. But I think there is a healthy way to do it, and I hope that that's where I'm coming to. And I think that that's what these videos really bring me back to, is a really healthy way of showing up and being seen and being involved in the online arena, like not just sitting back and consuming, which is what I've been doing a lot of. And that never feels healthy for me. It feels good for me to have an exchange, to be giving back, like the many, 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 many hours I've spent watching and listening to ASMR videos, to be able to give something back as well to other listeners, community. Yeah, that feels fulfilling to me. That feels like it makes sense, and it does give me life and give me energy. So yeah, let me know if you're enjoying the gum chewing in this. But yeah, I guess it's also specific requests, like if there's anything that you want me to make videos on or talk about, or share about. Um, I'm so open to inspiration. I love a good recommendation. Like I said, I love a good invitation. Like, it shows me what to focus on and what direction to go. I find that really helpful. But I love making videos about what I've been reading. I think I'll definitely do one of those, because I have been reading. It's July. I've probably read like 16 books so far this year. So I guess that's like pretty average for me. I mean, I think that year that I started my channel, I read like 62 books or something, which is a lot more than usual. But yeah, I have read some books this year that I've really loved. I've also read some really average books, but definitely in the last 2.5 years I would have read. Oh, do you know what? Even that, like, I even took a bit of a break from reading. Like, of course, I was definitely still reading, but I didn't have like multiple books on the go at once. Like, I was so busy, you know. I was doing so much, and I missed reading. And yeah, reading for me is so wholesome. It's so fulfilling. Yes, that's something I was going to talk about, that I mentioned earlier, that I'm trying to do more things that just bring me joy. Like, it's so simple, but I think it really landed for me when I was reading Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, a book on creativity, non-fiction. Yeah, she's really sharing about her beliefs on creativity and living a creative life, being a creative person, which she believes everybody is and can be. And yeah, I did get a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it. Just in terms of the transmission, really, it was inspiring. But one thing that did really stick with me is her sharing that, like, as an adult, you are allowed to do things that you just enjoy for the sake of it. Like, you're allowed to, and you should. Like, you absolutely should. Like, think about things that you did as a kid, as a teenager, throughout your life that you've enjoyed. And at the time, I didn't really think of anything. I just kind of took it in and was like, yeah, totally. Like, didn't really make it personal. But since then, I've noticed a lot of things. For example, a few weeks ago, or about a month ago, I went to visit my parents with my daughter and my partner, and we went ice skating. And my daughter, she might have been ice skating before, but like maybe only once or something. So I was basically teaching her, and like, it made me remember that as a teenager, I used to go ice skating super regularly. Like, I used to do it for sport at school, and I used to go on Friday nights with friends. So I've had a lot of practice ice skating. Like, I can ice skate, I'm pretty confident and competent, and I enjoy it because, like, I know how to do it and I enjoy it, and it's just like a fun, silly little activity, and it brought me so much joy to just be ice skating. And I was like, oh my god, like, this is one of those examples of, like, I could just allow myself to do this for the sake of it, not to make money from it, not to, like, lose weight, like, not, and all these reasons that these incentives we give ourselves of why it's productive to do something. Do you know what? It's productive to feel happy, to feel happiness, to feel fulfilled, to feel joy. That is worthwhile. Like, that is what life is all about, right? It's about feeling, I believe. And we in a similar part of the country where I am now, like only a couple of hours away, but like a couple of hours drive. And so, for example, where like all of my friends are, and where I lived for like 10 years, is, I don't know, it would take like 2 days to drive there. So it's like a very different part of Australia, and that's where I have been. Well, not really. I've kind of been back and forth. I've driven up and down the East Coast multiple times, but my point being, like, yeah, I'm disconnected from that part of me right now, and there's not enough playfulness in my life, I think. Although, to be fair, me and my partner have a very playful connection, and we're always joking and laughing, and I love that about us. I love that. But yeah, I do think it's important for us to notice when we're feeling pleasure, like innocent pleasure and joy, and to encourage that and create those moments when we can. So yeah, this channel is that for me. Reading fiction is that for me. Like, reading non-fiction isn't that for me. Like, I still do it. I love learning. I love studying. I do feel a different kind of fulfillment from that. But yeah, reading fiction, I just can get like lost in it. Allowing myself to go and explore bookshops just for the sake of it more often, because it is something that makes me feel a particular way. And yeah, just figuring out what more of those are. I started going rock climbing for the first time last week. Started as in I'm going to be going every Friday for a while. So I really enjoyed my first session, and it felt good to be moving my body in a really different way to usual. And it does feel like it is more for the purpose of joy than, say, when I go to Pilates. I love Pilates, I really enjoy it, but it's challenging, and it is, more for fitness, whereas rock climbing, like, sure, I will, as a byproduct, become healthier and stronger, but, like, I'm just enjoying myself, yeah, so finding more of that, and I definitely encourage you to have a look for those in your life, those examples. I'm not out here trying to give you advice or anything though, that's just what I've been trying to do since I listened to Big Magic. Again, non-fiction book, but worthwhile, but totally not the same as getting lost in a world, and a moment in time, and a moment between characters, like, yeah, I love it. Anyway, I think I will leave it there. I think that's, I personally love listening to longer videos, the longer the better, because then I don't have to change it for a while, but I don't know, I find that my shorter, like 20 minutes-ish ones actually do better than like the 40-minute ones, which is so interesting.